Anytime I get to a place to where I really would love to be around somebody, or I really look forward to certain interactions and I end up kind of in a way putting it on a pedestal, anytime I do that, there is something that I have to do to take that off a pedestal so that I can then be on the same level so that then I can experience it. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to take it off a pedestal, how detachment is actually the key to you attracting love into your life, and this works very powerfully when you apply it. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how to really attract love from the place of resonance, understanding that attachment will keep you from actually doing that. Any type of attachment, whether that is an attachment to some type of story that you have, whether that's an attachment to some type one specific person that you're putting all your energy on, and realize that when you think of someone, you are sending them energy. And if you're feeling that lack of love and you're acknowledging that you don't currently have love, you're also sending that energy out. And that's why attachment many times is something that you have to let go of. So letting go of attachment to story, letting go of attachment to that of the to different people, to the thoughts you think, the attachment to the vacuum, which sometimes you can find, sometimes you can't find because you don't remember where you put it. Okay, this is very important to understand this whole entire process. Now let's first off, let me show you something right over here. I'm gonna get out the handy dandy whiteboard for this to show that the vibration, wait for the light to come back. The vibration of wanting versus the vibration of having are two completely different realities. And the importance of this is knowing that when we talk about desire, when we talk about attachment, it's an attachment to a desire. And anytime you want something, you can't have it. I know that sounds paradoxical, but let me show you a better camera angle first so that I could show you this. So now the vibration of wanting versus the vibration of having, understand these are two totally separate realities. And imagine that there's a version of you that wants something, and then there's a version of you that has something. The version of you that wants something feels the lack, because if you want it, it means you don't got it. I want it, I got it. But if you want it, and you want it, and you want it, then you don't have it. And the key to this is understanding that when you see there's two separate realities, what you first off must understand is that what must change is your inner reality first. Because the outer reality is only a reflection. That's it. It's just a reflection. So when we want something and we're looking to the outside, we then can't actually have it because we don't first off have it within. We must first off have it within. So the key to this is understanding that the other dynamic to this is knowing how important is this? How attached are we? Now I remember when I first got on YouTube, doesn't necessarily have to do with love, but let me just share with you an example of how this might work. So back in the day, before I was on YouTube and I was starting to grow my channel, there were certain people that I wanted to make videos with. There were certain people's content that I liked, and I was like, hey, I'd like to make videos with you. And I first off got to maybe 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I kept reaching out to a couple different people that I was like, oh, maybe eventually I'll be on their radar and we could make a video together. Now, when I wanted to do that, when I really wanted it, I wouldn't really get any response back from either of these like 2 or 3 people I'd reach out to. The more I wanted it, the more I could not have it. Now, what I had to end up doing is the more I ended up growing, the more then I became detached from it, because I'm like, hey, I got my own gravity going on. I got my own stuff going on. I don't need that. I don't need someone else to put me on. I don't need to be around someone's energy because I got my own stuff going on. And not only that, I'm starting to get pretty busy here. So I don't even know if I have the time to necessarily go and do that. I'm focused, this is like 2-3 years ago, I was very focused on my videos. And what ended up happening is the more detached I became from the outcome, the more it began to align. I remember not long after I really detached, all of a sudden, I got the text message. Or I got the message in, it was actually through Instagram DMs. It was like, hey man, why don't you come to LA? Let's do a video together. And I was like, huh. So you see, that's the key, is how detached can you become? You have to get to a place to where it'd be cool if it happened, it'd be cool if you almost don't care one way or another. You don't care if you do have it, you don't care if you don't have it. When you get to that place, it's a very dangerous place. It's a very powerful place to be at. When you get to the place to where you're cool if you do and you're cool if you don't, that's right where you want to be. But if you are really wanting a relationship, really wanting love, really wanting things to go a certain way, you will keep wanting till you get tired of wanting. The key is to instead, with choice, move to the reality of having on the inside. And the way you have on the inside is by giving yourself the emotions you would feel if you had the relationship. If you had the relationship, you would then give yourself permission to feel certain energy within your field, and then you would be able to feel it. And the key is knowing that, get rid of the rule, the attachment you have to the rule in your mind that says that you must first have love on the outside to then feel it on the inside. That's all it is. It's a rule. You can decide to give yourself that love. And the more you focus on giving yourself that love, the more you will actually feel it. So the key is knowing that the more you feel it on the inside, and the more you can really just get to a place of detachment, is the more that then you're going to resonate at it from a deeper level. Okay, let's go switch the camera angle now. All right, now the next part of this is understanding that anytime we have attachment, and Buddha himself said that the root of all suffering is attachment. And it's specifically attachment to desire. Now let's understand this. If we desire something, then it means we have some type of attachment. If we have some type of attachment, then it means we are at some level suffering or resisting. If we are in the vibration of resisting, then we can't perceive of the love that could come into our life because we're on a different radio frequency. Think of these as different radio frequency channels. And if we're on the channel of wanting, it means we're on the channel of lacking. If we're on the channel of lacking, then we're on the channel of resistance. And if we're feeling resistance, we're not going to experience in a reality where amazing things come into our life, or we find that person that we're meant to be with, or whatever the situation is that we want to experience. The key to this is understanding that the attachment here is the problem. The attachment is the problem. And when you can get to a place where you're cool if it doesn't happen or does happen, that's where you are at the self-perpetuated emotion and momentum. You generate that feeling from within. You have your own gravity of things going on. Now, I've had this happen so many times too. When I first get into a relationship with someone or something like that, and you start texting a lot. And you ever get to a place to where when you're texting, you're like, oh, it'd be cool if they texted me back right now or something. You wonder what's going on, right? How many times do you think about it and think about it and think about it and think about it, and then it's not coming because you really want it. You really want that reply to a text message or something like that. And then what happens is you forget about it. You forget about the text message because you start doing something else. You forget about the desire. You literally detach from that emotional desire that you have. And what happens? Then you get the text message. You get the response. Now the key is knowing that's not the way in the place you want to be. The place you want to be is detachment. Complete detachment. You have your own gravity going on. And the way that you detach from this is you realize, first off, that you have the desire. That you have the desire. The desire is within you. I have this attachment to desire. And realize that anytime you want something, you will never actually have that thing you want, because by the time you have it, you've moved from the vibration of wanting to having. Sometimes people use action to do that, because when you're doing action, you're then in that momentum, in that movement, and then you allow yourself to move from that to this. It's almost like the action also becomes in some way believable, in a way for that to make the transition. But the key to this is an understanding that the root of all the pain is from the attachment to the desire. And the more you want love, the more you resist love. And the key is understanding that instead of suffering, get rid of that suffer by detaching it, releasing it. release that suffering into the ethers. Release the desire into the ethers. And understand that you're good either way. And some of this could be you just becoming aware of your label or belief, that rule that you need to be in a relationship to be happy, or that anything on the outside has to change first. That anybody has to be a certain way. When you stop trying to control the outside, and that's really what it is too, we're trying to control the outside reality. And when we are attached, we're attached to that control of things being a certain way, people being a certain way, our thoughts, our beliefs, we're attached to it. And when you allow yourself to become aware of the attachment, to become aware of the desire, you can then let it go. You can then say, who would I be without that? Oh, I'd be free. I'd be free. I wouldn't be doing things for other people to like me. I'd be doing things because I want to do them. I would have my own gravity. I would go in this certain direction, be the star of my own movie. That's the key. That's the energy dynamic it is at play. But I'll tell you right now that one of the most powerful ways for you to attract love or relationships into your life is for you to let go of the desire altogether. And really let it go. Not say, I'm going to let it go so that I can actually get it. We try sometimes to do that. We'll try to let go of something, and it's like, okay, I let it go. Like, it's imagine looking at a mirror, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna change that reflection on the mirror. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna change it. And you change your expression for a second, and you look, and you try to make sure. It's a funny idea, but we do it all the time. We try to change the outside, and by trying to change the outside, that's where the resistance comes. That's where the resistance comes. The key to this, here's actually what's even more powerful than even just releasing it. It's almost in a way allowing the universe to let it do it for you, by trusting in it. By just trusting that it's going to bring you exactly what you need when you need it. It's like the more you try to control the universe, the more you're putting your hands at the throat of it. And you're like, work out this way. The little ego thinks it knows everything. And the ego then is attached to this perspective. It's like, it's in that amusement park. Imagine it's in an amusement park and it's like, I just want to ride on this one ride. And there's like 700 other rides, but it's like, no, this is the one ride I want and it needs to work right now. And that's a level of scarcity too. So then it's putting out that energy, and imagine the ride has a consciousness of itself. And the ride's like, bro, way too needy, man, get away from me. Plus, some things we're in maintenance mode right now, so we're waiting. But if you were just to relax a little bit, you notice that maybe you got that VIP thing that gets you to the front of the line, and you don't got to wait in lines, and it's much more enjoyable. You see? But that's all this is. This is about understanding that if you release the desire, you release the attachment, it can then come to you. You are then in a free space. My intention with this video is to free you from your desire, to free you from the reality that says, I don't have love, to free you from it. And the way you become free is by releasing the desire altogether. You have everything within yourself to feel unconditional love, joy, peace, bliss, and enlightenment. That's actually who you are, by the way. Talk about enlightenment, and people say, oh, how do you attain enlightenment? The high level of enlightenment. You are enlightenment. It's just we got to undo things that have been done. And when we have desire, it means that when we have desire and attachment, it means that we got some knots to undo. I'm not saying I'm enlightened, by the way. I can levitate. Okay, I can't levitate, but I'm just saying in general, I believe that that's our natural state. And this whole journey that we're all on is about undoing that which has been done. And that desire to attachment is a desire to a story that we must be in a relationship. It's attachment to different people and the way they should act and trying to control the outer reality, not knowing that if you just let it go, then you can allow things and you can then be in a certain state to where the inner reality is then changed. And the inner reality is also changed because it realizes, I don't have to do all this. I can release it. And then I can be. And that's why also when I always talk about attracting love, something else that I always talk about is doing what you love. Developing your own gravity, because then you really become in abundance. I know I'm kind of... So the key to this whole entire process is understanding that the more we love ourselves, and I know it sounds super, super cliche, is the more we can then experience what we want. But really this getting rid of desire and attachment is really just a choice of awareness. Is becoming aware that we have it and then choosing to let it go and then choosing and allowing the universe to bring something else to us and then becoming free. Imagine that you don't have to pretend to be somebody else to attract somebody. You don't have to do what you think they want you to do. It's like you're at the gym and you see them walk around and you're like, oh, I'm going to put some more weight on this. I'm going to put some more weight on this machine or this bench and then push it. I was reading something yesterday. It was talking about somebody saw like The Rock. It was like on Reddit or something. Somebody saw The Rock at a gym, and he was so like starstruck. But immediately he started picking up heavier weight and stuff, thinking like The Rock was gonna look over at him and be like, "Whoa, bro, that's a little bit heavier weight than I expected you to be using." It's like, you're a cool guy. But all attachment. Imagine who you would be if you didn't have that attachment. Who would you be? You'd probably be way cool because that's who you are. You'd probably be an amazing person because that's who you are. But when you're not attached, you're free. When you're not attached, you can be in the LOVE frequency. And remember, these are literally different frequencies. You never get what you want because when you want it, you lack it. When you want it, you lack it. Sometimes then you'll take action, you'll get rid of the rule altogether, you'll just decide to feel the emotion on the inside, and when you feel the emotion on the inside, that's when you'll experience love in your life. But all you got to do is release the desire itself. Release the desire and allow it to come. I shared this one last story with you real quick. I've shared it a couple times before. I used to work with this chick, and she would, anytime she was starting to get in a relationship, she'd get hit on by so many guys. But when she really wanted a relationship, she wouldn't get attention at all. But if she started getting that relationship, she'd get hit on like 8 times in a week, when before that it'd be 8 times in like 8 months. So that's the difference. What was different? She wasn't wanting love. She was already in it. She already felt it. The paradox is that the whole entire time she could have felt that in between. And she could have been hit on by 800 guys in 8 months. Now how desiring are most people? I'm just kidding. I was like, I'm sure most women would not want that. But in general, maybe she would if it meant she could find like the perfect person or something like that. But when your cup is already full, guess what? You're good. You don't need other people's liquids, okay? You don't need other people to give you their, okay. Anyways, other than that, if you want to attract love into your life, there's a meditation below. That is the frequency of love. Read the comments. Somebody tagged me on Instagram the other day. It's like, I read the comments and they were convincing enough for me to start the 21-day challenge. So 21-day challenge, attract love meditation. It's my most popular meditation. Read the comments to see how many people have attracted love using it. It's because then you tap into that frequency. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, I'll see you on the next one. Peace, much love, and namaste. Cool vlogger thing. Ha!